Dr. Enlander, what did you think about the research when it was published in October 2009?
I thought it was very, very exciting because here was the possibility of finding an agent, causal agent for ME/CFS. Over the years, actually, we have been looking for the cause of this disease. Ever since actually the original work was done by Ramsay in 1955, and he actually thought that the possibility of Coxsackie B virus was the cause of the disease, and in fact he used the term post-viral fatigue, being post-viral Coxsackie B. And over the years, I've seen Bar virus, cytomegalo-inclusion virus, human herpes virus 6, HHV6 and HHV7 have been looked at. Elaine de Freitas, about 18 years ago, wrote a theory on a retrovirus. So retrovirus is not actually a new aspect in this disease. Crooks, many years ago, wrote a book on the cause of the disease by Candida, a yeast infection, and we have also the idea that it might be due to mycoplasma. We actually, Nicholson wrote the idea that mycoplasma might be the cause of the disease. None of these have been positively identified as the causal agent. So when we saw in December 2009...
It was October.
Sorry, October 2009, actually, the paper, it was great excitement actually emanated. In December 2009, a matter of weeks after the original publication, we saw 3 papers in quick succession being published actually to the detriment, denying actually the relationship of XMRV in chronic fatigue syndrome. Well, not only actually was this curious from the standpoint of the denial, but it was also curious that the rapid publication of these papers.
We had one in early January, we had one in mid-February, and we had one in late March. It was one right after the other.
Well, the December paper actually was received in December the 1st and published December the 4th.
Yeah, they had a 3-day review as opposed to the Science paper, which the review went on for several months. It did take another few weeks to appear online, but yeah, the Science paper came out on October 8th. And the paper that was published in PLOS1 was submitted for review on December 1st. That's
just a matter of weeks. In my institution, in order actually to do research, to initiate research, one has to go before a committee, a research committee. That can actually take several weeks. One has to formulate the research. One has to actually get the cohort of patients. One has to actually do the actual testing. One has to actually produce controls. One then has to actually write up the paper, do statistical relevance, and then actually submit the paper to a publication. The publication actually then sends it out to reviewers, and this takes a matter of weeks or months. So for a paper actually to come out rapidly in December the 1st, a matter of weeks after the original research, was actually
it raises a lot of questions.
Much surprising.
And what were your feelings on the second paper, which I believe was published in Retrovirology?
Well, all of the 3 papers that came out in rapid succession denied actually the Michlowicz's original contention that the virus was seen in ME/CFS. Some of the denial actually was stated to be geographical because actually these papers actually emanated in Europe, 2 in Britain, 1 in Europe. that this might be actually a difference between the United States and Europe and Britain. However, let it be said that we collected 100 patient specimens and submitted them to the Jonathan Kerr Stoy research effort. We don't know exactly how these specimens were tested, but they certainly emanated from our New York patients. It has been questioned actually whether in fact actually some of these patients were tested because one of the prime authors actually was under some academic stress at that particular moment.
Now, what struck me about the first one that came out was that Myra McClure seemed very confident in her assertion that XMRV was not implicated in chronic fatigue syndrome, period. I think she said something along the lines of that she was 1,000% certain, and then left open the possibility that it could be geographical differences. But then by the time the second paper was published, I think one of the questions that people were asking was, were these actual replication studies?
Well, the problem was that the methods that were used were different to the original Nevada study. The patient selection was different. The patient specimen handling was different. Some specimens actually were fresh, or some of them actually emanated from us. Some patient specimens actually had been stored and frozen actually for many years. Some patient specimens actually were maybe from a cohort that did not suffer from ME/CFS. So the patient handling, patient selection, specimen storage were all actually different to the original publication in Science. Then, a couple of months later, there was a delay in the publication of another study by Harvey Alter of NIH. Excuse me. Harvey actually is an eminent virologist at NIH and has actually done some monumental work on hepatitis. And he actually produced a paper where there was positive findings in ME/CFS and MLV virus, a virus actually which was related to the XMRV retrovirus. And Harvey showed actually that in a large number of CFS patients that they were positive for MLV virus. So now we actually have Harvey Alter actually confirming that there might be a virus in ME/CFS.
Yes, and he did use the word confirm. Now, this is a retrovirus, xenotropic murine leukemia virus-related virus is the proper term for it, I believe. It was just discovered in 2006. It would seem that the testing methodology is evolving. The percentage of ME/CFS patients in the Science study that tested positive was 67%. In the study that Harvey Alter published, the percentage was 87% for the virus that was not exactly XMRV, but very similar.
The variant in XMRV and in MLV are slightly different, but there is actually similarity in protein makeup. And Harvey addressed this point in his paper. However, it must be also actually stated that the XMRV virus was not, this is not the first time actually XMRV virus has actually been identified. It was originally identified in patients with prostate cancer. And when they actually did the prostate cancer study, they find that 4% of the normal population who did not actually have prostatic cancer also had the presence of the XMRV virus, asymptomatic presence. So it is strange that 0% of patients were seen to have this virus in the 3 studies that denied the XMRV in MECFS.
Right, including controls.
Including the controls.
Right, and the 4% in healthy controls in the previous prostate cancer studies, which I also want to point out, it's found in prostate cancer in around the 25% range, a much higher number in MECFS. But the 4% in healthy controls number was similar to the number in the Whittemore-Peterson study in Science, and in the study that Harvey Alter published, the percentage was actually higher, which leads us to implications at large for the blood supply.
Well, then actually we saw in Britain that the patients actually who were suffering from MECFS were prohibited from donating blood to the National Health blood donation system.
Right. This follows the lead of several countries, including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, who have banned blood donations from MECFS patients. But in Britain,
actually, a document actually was produced that said that the donation of blood actually was not actually because of the possibility of passing on the XMRV virus, but that the actual process of blood donation might do harm to the CFS-ME patient. It seems to actually subvert the idea that there might be some implication in the XMRV virus. They did not. It seemed as if they were unable to admit to that possibility.
Well, I would point out that since the summer, early summer or late spring, to the best of my knowledge, XMRV is a topic that has not made the newspapers in Great Britain. Perhaps there have been a piece online here or there that has mentioned it, but I don't believe it's seen publication. But that's...
Anyway, let's actually let's review again actually the possibilities of viral etiology. As I said, this is not the first virus, and probably will not be the last virus that's implicated in MECFS. But how does this relate to the actual disease? Is it the actual acute infection? The answer is no. It is not the actual acute infection. The patient is not actually obviously suffering from acute viremia or acute actually virus disease. We believe actually that the virus, which whatever it is, be it XMRV, MLV, Epstein-Barr, HHV6, HHV7, or whatever the etiological agent is, it affects the immune system, makes the immune system dysfunction. And this is not even a new theory. The idea of immune system dysfunction was connotated in the determination of a new term, CFIS, chronic fatigue immune dysfunction syndrome, which was actually a term which gained some favor about 20 years ago. So the idea of immune system dysfunction was actually seen, and actually certain dysfunction in the immune system was actually seen by Nancy Klimas in natural killer cell abnormalities in the function of the natural killer cells, in certain cytokine abnormalities, and other manifestations of the immune system. This in turn actually was the rationale that the University of Texas group used to actually give patients quteropressin. About 20 or 30 years ago, they actually used quteropressin to some effect to normalize the immune system. Unfortunately, a small percentage of patients actually were